Yeah. If you'd like to take a cushion and just be in the middle, you're welcome.
Where's the camera?
Camera is right there.
Oh, hello there.
So we're trying to get that banner from flying in front of the camera.
Okay, but I actually talking to
Uh,
the camera.
Yeah, if you can just face the camera, face out. I know it's a little funny since everyone's in the other direction. But yeah, or to the group. If you want to be in the middle here, then you could be facing the group.
Okay. Facing the group.
Yeah, so sort of in the middle, and then you can talk to everybody.
Yeah. Welcome, friends and supporters of Dhammadharini who can be here in person, as well as those who are attending from far away via Zoom. It's my honor to, on behalf of the Dhammadharini Support Foundation, and I am Susie Clicks, Susie or Sisagun, as some of the people know me by, Clicks, who's president of the Dhammadharini Support Foundation. It's a work that is very rewarding that we have been doing in support of Dhammadharini Monastery for so long. Today is the auspicious day to commemorate the important event in the history of the Buddha and Buddhism. In that, this represents the first day of teaching of the Buddha after his enlightenment. The day after his enlightenment, the Buddha was realizing his responsibility to share and to teach the world and the mankind of the Gent and that he had discovered to relieve of all the suffering. And the first group of people that he was looking for were the 5 disciples who had been with him before his enlightenment effort and who had been serving him for so long in the forest. So he felt that he owed it to that first 5 disciples to share this discovery of the Dhamma, you know. So I think that they then came together in the forest. It's called, okay, I'm going to try to name it. It's called, the forest is Isipatana Marukatayawan, which is very near the city of Vaisali in India. And that was when he gave his first teaching of the 4 Noble Truths. And I think that has been noted as the day when the first wheel of Dharma was turned. And today, as the representation of the wheel of the Dhamma behind our Buddha statue here, we invite you to participate in the commemoration of that special event. And I like to add that after the day of the celebration of the first teaching of the Buddha, the monastics will be entering the period of Vassa, which is the period where they will be staying in place to be able to practice together as a community for the next 3 months. So we also are celebrating that too, and it's delightful to be able to have them being in the one place to practice together for that long period of time. Thank you, everyone.
Sadhu, sadhu. Thank you, Susie. I don't think we introduced you properly. This is the president of our board of directors, Sisa Kundflix, Susie, and good friend for a long time. And thank you very much for those words. So I am Venerable Kathina Bhikkhuni. I'm stepping in last minute as MC here, as our founding abbess Ayat Taloka is not feeling so well. She may be able to come out a little bit later, but we're going to start as we are. And so I'd like to invite from Ayah Sobhana if she would be willing to give some words of welcome and share a little bit more about the meaning of the day and our plans for the day. You have these notes here, Ayah?
Yes, I have the program. All have gathered here. Some of us are old Dhamma friends who've seen each other along the way on the path for many years. And then some of us are also new friends who might not know all of the others in the room. And I hope that you will have a special heart of kindness for the people you know, and another special heart of kindness for the people in this room who you don't yet know, who are also your friends and fellow travelers along this path to awakening, this path to the end of dukkha. I also have been feeling very weird in the past couple of days. There's a way that the Asalha Puja, the first turning the wheel of Dhamma, was like a compressed moment in the entire history of humanity. When after the Buddha's awakening, when the wheel of Dhamma was turned and we found that it was possible, there could be a Sama Sambuddha who was able to explain or express or show the Dhamma in a way that others could pick it up, and that then this possibility for liberation could come along and be available to the whole world. And then Buddhism can become one of the great world religions. So a momentous occasion in world history. And also in a very different way, we feel that this moment in our modern human history is momentous in a sorrowful way, that we see so many things turning in the wrong direction, and with a sense of maybe we've lost our way completely, and it's going to go from bad to worse, and human race will be at a different kind of a turning point. Instead of moving towards happiness, maybe we're going to be moving towards more and more difficulty, more and more challenges. And so then we have this kind of like this sense of compression and a pressure. So the lesson I've been giving myself for the past couple of days, preparing for today, and what I hope that you can enjoy also, is just to be ordinary. Just breathe, just enjoy the moment. Just be present for whatever it is, just right now, just the way it is right now. So we're here to do the things that Buddhists always do when they come together. They offer a meal and they share a meal together, have the fellowship of that shared requisite of nutrition. And then we're going to have a chance. I hope that somebody there would like to request the refuges and precepts. And then all together, you'll have a chance to open your voice and recite together. You're taking refuge in the Triple Gem. The precepts is truly based on kindness. It's the embodiment of kindness is the precepts. And so it's renewing our commitment, our adhitthana for kindness. Then we are going to be hoping to enter into the Vassa. And those who are the donors, or the Vassa. Two of our members here who have offered to together offer the Kathina robes at the end of the Vassa season are also something like the sponsors of this whole 3 months that they are taking on their very small shoulders this duty of helping and looking out and making sure that the bhikkhunis are okay for the next 3 months. We hope that everybody is going to also be inspired to like to join and help out, and so that Shari and Shirley can be in touch with you and you can be in touch with them to see if the bhikkhunis need anything during these 3 months. So we'll have that offering of the Vassa Aradhana. We'll have the chanting of the Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta. We'll have a Dhammadesana giving a talk about the Dhamma. And then the conclusion of the program today is a chance for everybody who's here, if you want to think about what kind of adhitthana, what kind of vow, or what kind of determination you would like to make for yourself during this next 3 months of the Vassa, how you would like to be more clear about what your commitment is in relation to the spiritual path. So if you have an adhitthana, something that you would like to do during these coming 3 months, you may find a brown paper Bodhi leaf and a pencil over there and write your adhitthana on the Bodhi leaf and pin the Bodhi leaf on the picture of the tree as a way to express what your adhitthana is. And so this is the summary of what the program is going to be today. Now would be a good time to take the refuges and precepts. Those who don't know it off by heart could take one of the brown chanting books from the table. And somebody who would like to could request the refuges and precepts. Do you know what page it is?
I can do it.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. Actually, Shari's already been invited to do this on behalf of everyone.
Shari, what page is it in the book?
It's on page 126 is the requesting,
Okay.
and then on page 128.
Okay, so 126 is where she's going to start. Do you want to come up?
Tisaranena saha pancha silani yachama dutiyampi mayam maye tisaranena saha pancha silani yachama tatiyampi mayam maye tisaranena saha pancha silani yachama.
You can bow. I'll recite the Namo Tassa 3 times, and then you can repeat it 3 times. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa.
Namo tassa
Repeating line by line. Buddhang saranang gacchami. Dhammam saranang gacchami. Sangham saranang gacchami. Dutiyampi buddhang saranang gacchami. Dutiyampi dhammang saranang gacchami. Dutiyampi sanghang saranang gacchami. Tatiyampi buddhang saranang gacchami. Tatiyampi dhammang saranang gacchami. Tatiyampi sanghang saranang gacchami. Saranam gamanam nititam. Now the refuges are complete. You've taken refuge in the Buddha, Dhamma, and Sangha. Now repeating the precept after me, line by line, and then I'm going to read off the English so you know the meaning. Panatipata veramani sikkapadang samadhiyami. You undertake the precept to refrain from taking the life of any living creature. Adinadana veramani sikkapadang samadhiyami. You undertake the precept to refrain from taking what is not given. Kamesu mikchachara veramani sikkapadang samadhiyami. You undertake the precept to refrain from any sexual misconduct. Musavada veramani sikkapadang samadhiyami. You undertake the precept to refrain from false or harmful speech. Surameraya matchapamadhatthana veramani sikkapadang samadhiyami. You undertake the precept to refrain from intoxicating drinks or drugs causing heedlessness. Now the precepts are complete. Silena sugating yanti, silena bhoga sambhada, silena nimbudhim yanti, tasma silang visodhaye. Through morality, one obtains happiness. Through morality, one obtains true wealth. Through morality, one obtains peace. Sadhu, Sadhu, sadhu.
Now,
all of us have got purified hearts and minds because of making this determination. And now is the time for Shari and Shirley to begin the giving the invitation.
oh, while Shari and Shirley are coming up, I'd like to just mention this is the time for our formal entry into the Vassa. They're going to invite us to dwell here and at Aranyabodhi Hermitage for the next 3 months. Just to give you a sense of who's going to be here with us for the Vassa, there's a few people who we invited who unfortunately were not able to come. We were trying to bring in 3 Cambodian seminaries to be training with us during this time and be here for the Bhikkhuni Upasamaya, hopefully, of Seminary Satajivi on the end here. Will be becoming a Bhikkhuni at some point during this Vassa. Well, actually not at some point. We think September 11th. We have a date. Unfortunately, the others were not able to travel to be with us because of visa issues. However, we do have 2 more people who are not here today who will be joining us, 2 more monastics. And those are Aya Brahmawara, who some of you may remember from last Vassa. She came and she was one of the 4 new bhikkhunis who ordained together with me. And some of you have been seeing her on Zoom, and I know there's a lot of appreciation for her teachings. So we're very happy to have her back again. She was not able to be online with us today, but I do see our other friend online who will be joining us in just a couple days, and that is Seminary Satima. Can we bring her up on the screen there? Yes. Let me get these things out of the way so you can see her. So, Seminary Satima, some of you may have met her in the past previously. She's visited a few times, and she is now a seminary. You can see the change of robe colors here. She has been training at Mahapajapati Monastery in Southern California for the past year and will be coming to us for the Vassa. So not here quite yet, but will be soon. So just welcome to her. And these are the people who are being invited to stay. So of course, Ayataloka will be here, Aya Sobhana, myself, Venerable Kachayana, Seminary Satajivi, Seminary Tamawara, Seminary Tavira, Seminary Satima, and Aya Brahmawara. Also, I skipped her in the order. So those are the people you're inviting, and we appreciate that very much. And I'll let Aya Sobhana lead up in this part of the invitation.
Imasmin arame, Bhikkhuni Sangha, Imante masam vasam dupetam, Aradanam karoma, Dutiyampi imasmin arane, Bhikkhuni Sangha, Imante masam vasam upetum, Aradanam karoma,
Katiyampi imasmin arane.
Katiyampi imasmin
Karame. Bhikkhuni Sanghasa.
Bhikkhuni Sanghasa.
Imam Thera Sanghasam Upetum. Imante
Masam wasam upetum.
Aradhanam Karoma.
Aradhanam karoma.
Venerable ladies of the Bhikkhuni Sangha today on Asalha Puja Day, which is also known as Dhammadharini, as the Vassa begins, we, Shirley and Shari,
Together with Dhammadharini Support Foundation and friends of Dhammadharini, want to respectfully invite the venerable members of Mahasangha present to accept our Aradhana, our invitation for the 3 months of the rain retreat, the Vassa at our Dhammadharini Sangha Bhikkhuni Arana,
that is
Dhammadharini Monastery, and Dhammadharini Aranya Bodhi Awakening Forest Hermitage. We will take care of you and see to all of your needs during this time. May you practice consummately
and fulfill
the
the
Buddha's teaching during this time.
And
And may you, out of compassion, guide and direct us in the Dhamma and its practice
for
our long-term benefit and the happiness it gives us. May our right efforts and fortunate conditions be fruitful for our progress in the Buddha's way of awakening and for the realization of the most excellent happiness of Nibbana. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
I'd like to go right ahead and offer the cross here, which is known as the ring bathing cross. So, in the old days, when during the rainy season, if you wanted a shower, you could just go outside and stand outside of the rain and get a nice shower. And it was thought, well, for modesty, they should have a simple cloth to wear when they take a bath. For us in our modern times, we have a creek, and if we are ever feeling very hot and dry, dusty and dirty, and we need to jump in the creek and take a bath, then it's just the thing to have our rains bathing cloth with us for that purpose. So this is an old tradition, and the cloth that they're giving is white, and we shall also have a rehearsal, a practice of dyeing the cloth to learn how to make it come out into a perfectly brown color to match the color that we usually wear for our robes.
It would also be the time for the Sanghadana.
Yes. In addition to this offer, Sanghadana is any kind of gift of a useful thing for the Sangha. Are those things on the table or Sanghadana? So the things over on the table that were offered could be brought up after Shari and Shirley have done their recitation and placed in front of the altar, as well as anything else that somebody might be holding back that they want to offer at this particular moment.
Should they gather that? Should they gather those things?
Yes, you want to do it beforehand? Yes.
So while we're gathering those things, I think we also didn't properly introduce Shari and Shirley. Would you like to say a word with them?
I know that Shari was one of the founding members of the board of directors of Dhammadharini when it was started in 2006 and was president of Dhammadharini for the maximum amount of time. I think it was 10 years, as serving us in that role. And I can tell you that Shari is also a yoga master and a retired educator who's got many skills, very intelligent person, and a model of energy and fitness. Shirley, I don't quite remember when you first became involved with us.
I came to visit Ayatollah in 2005 in Fremont.
In 2005, okay. So since 2005, Shirley has served us. For a time, she served us as treasurer. Shirley is also a dedicated student of Ajahn Brahm and was instrumental in organizing several of the events that Ajahn Brahm gave to us to help develop support for Dhammadharini. And Shirley is a retired financier, is that true? Working in the banking industry, and so she has those kind of practical skills to give. Those could slide up here to the front.
It's not allowable, so we want to separate those things out.
Okay.
From the ginger pie restaurant.
This is so perfectly representative for us to receive a notebook where we can write down our thoughts, to receive a bit of a dish soap, some Q-tips, some toothbrushes, a bit of tea. These are just the type of daily requisites that's very traditional and normal to be offering to the bhikkhunis. And I see coming along some bed, some cloth for the bedding. Okay. Now that, can you bring it?
Are they going to do the
Yeah.
Put it.
first and then
Okay. Finish chanting first and then bring it. Namaskar.
Namo tassa bhagavato arahato sama sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato sama sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato sama sambuddhassa. Imani mayam aye. Vassa vasika charani. Saparivarani. Bhikkhuni Sangha Ono Jayama. Sadhuno aye. Bhikkhuni Sangho. Imani vassa vasika charani.
Saparivarani Patiganhatu Amhatam Dikaratam Hitaya Sukhaya. We now offer this rains bathing cloth along with associated useful requisites to the Bhikkhuni Sangha as we pledge our commitment to offer the Kathina robe upon the fulfillment of the Vassa. May our offering of rains bathing cloth along with associated useful requisites, together with our pledge of commitment to offer the Kathina robe upon fulfillment of the Vassa, be for our long-term benefit and happiness.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
You should not receive after news. Somebody offered you.
Mountain of things is smaller than me, but larger than a bird box.
You take your mic, Guy. Abe Buddha Balapata Patrikananjayam Balam Marandalam Chitejana Vakumbandani Samaso. By the power of all the Buddhas, the power of all the Arahants, and the glory power of the silent Arahants, by the power of the Buddha, the power of the silent Buddhas, the glory of the Arahants. May you be protected in every way.
Sadhu, sadhu.
So this completes a very important formal offering that all the internal goodwill, friendliness, kindness, and generosity that you hold in your hearts is embodied through the giving by hand of these few items. And the formal statement given in the ancient language of Pali, as it has been done for so many centuries and thousands of years. So in that way, we have the power of the good intention of Shari and Shirley, the power of all of your good intentions, and we also have the power of uniting our hearts together with all of the generations that went before us, who did the same kind of thing, and all the generations that will come after us, that will continue doing that same kind of thing, keeping the fourfold Sangha together with the bhikkhus, the bhikkhunis, laymen and laywomen, all joined in a harmonious relationship to keep the Dhamma alive, to keep alive the possibility of liberation and awakening for all beings. So here we are, just in a suburb of Santa Rosa, under a warm sun in California. And
and yet we are in unity with this great tradition, embodying with our own bodies and with our own voices and with our own hearts the meaning of the great tradition. Now, I think it's the time to recite the Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta. You have it in the book, and you can look at the meaning. And again, reciting in Pali. This has been recited so many times before. I like to think that in our previous lifetime, we might have heard the same chanting many times before if we were so fortunate. And there could even be beings who are around us, even non-human beings, like devas and spirits, and even animals. There's a cat who came to our monastery who started hanging around with us. Maybe that cat has chanted the Dhammacakkappavattana in the past, or heard it in the past, and that would be the reason why he comes to us and wants to be here. It's possible, and when the beings hear the joyful voices together reciting this, also opens the channel of possibilities for us to realize the truths that are being pointed out here, to realize the promise of awakening insight, which is what's described in this sutta. So we can all join our voices together, if you're happy chanting in Pali, to recite it together with us, or else if you just like to read along and follow the meaning in English, you can do that as well. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Evam me sutang ekam samayang bhagava varanasiyang viharati isipatane mikataye tatra ko bhagava panchavagye bhikkhu amantesi dve me bhikkave anta pampachitena nasevitapa katame dve yo jayang kame sukhama sukhalikanu yogo ino gammo potunjaniko anariyo anatta sanghito yo jayang Takilamatanu yogo dukho anariyo anatta sanghito ete ko bhikkave upo ante anupakamma manjima patipada tatagatena abhisambodha Chakkukarani Jnanakarani Upasamaya Abhinyaya Sambodhaya Nibbanaya Sangvatati Ayami Atama Chabhikkhave Manjima Patipada Tathagatena Abhisambodha Chakkukarani Jnanakarani Upasamaya Abhinyaya Sambodhaya Nibbanaya Sangvatati Ayameva hariyo attangiko maggo seyatirang Sammaditthi samma sankappo samma vaca samma kammanto samma ajivo samma vayamo samma sati samma samadhi Ayang kosa bhikkhave majjhima patipada tatagatena abhisambodha Chakkukarani jnanakarani upasamaya abhinyaya sambodhaya nibbanaya samvattati Edam kopana bhikkhave dukkhaṃ arya sacchaṃ Jati dukkha jara dukkha maranam dukkhaṃ apiyehi sampayogo dukkho piyehi vipayogo dukkho iyam picchaṃ nalapatitam dukkhaṃ Sankirtena pajjupadana kanda dukkha Idangho pana bhikkhave dukkha samudayang arya sacchaṃ Yayang tanha pono bhavika nandiraga sahagata tatra tatra vinandini seyatirang Kama tanha bhavatanha vibhavatanha Idang kopana bhikkhave dukkha nirodhaṃ arya sacchaṃ Yotassa yeva tanhaya asesa viraga nirodho Jago patinissago mutti analayo Idang kopana bhikkhave dukkha nirodhagamini patipada Arya sacchaṃ ayameva ariyo attangiko maggo seyatinang sammaditthi samma sankappo samma vaca samma kammanto samma ajivo samma vayamo samma sati samma samadhi Idam dukkhaṃ arya sacchanti me bhikkhave bonde ananussute dhammesu cakkhung urapari jnanaṃ urapari paññā urapari vicca urapari aloko urapari tango panirang dukkhaṃ arya sacchaṃ parinyeyanti me bhikkhave bobbe ananussute dhammesu cakkhung urapari jnanaṃ urapari paññā urapari vicca urapari aloko urapari tango panirang dukkhaṃ arya sacchaṃ parinyatanti me bhikkhave bobbe ananussute dhammesu cakkhung urapari jnanaṃ urapari paññā urapari vicca urapari aloko urapari Idam dukkha samudayang arya sacchanti me bhikkhave bobbe ananussute dhammesu cakkhung urapari jnanaṃ urapari paññā urapari vicca urapari aloko urapari tango panirang dukkha samudayang arya sacchaṃ pahatapanti me bhikkhave bhikkhave pobe ananusutesu dhammesu chakkhung udapadi jnanam udapadi panya udapadi vicca udapadi aloko udapadi dangho panidam dukkha samudayang ariya satchang pahinanti me bhikkhave pobe ananusutesu dhammesu chakkhung udapadi jnanam udapadi panya udapadi vicca udapadi aloko udapadi idam dukkha nirodhang ariya satchanti me bhikkhave pobe ananusutesu dhammesu chakkhung udapadi jnanam udapadi panya udapadi vicca udapadi aloko udapadi dangho panidam dukkha nirodhang ariya satchan Satchikattapanti me bhikkhave pobe ananusutesu dhammesu chakkhung udapadi jnanam udapadi panya udapadi vicca udapadi aloko udapadi dangho panidam dukkha nirodhang ariya satchang satchikattanti me bhikkhave pobe ananusutesu dhammesu chakkhung udapadi jnanam udapadi panya udapadi vicca udapadi aloko udapadi idam dukkha nirodhagamini patipada ariya satchanti me bhikkhave pobe ananusutesu dhammesu chakkhung udapadi jnanam udapadi panya udapadi vicca udapadi aloko udapadi dangho panidam dukkha nirodhagamini patipada ariya satchang bhavetappanti me bhikkhave pobe ananusutesu dhammesu chakkhung udapadi jnanam udapadi panya udapadi vicca udapadi aloko udapadi dangho panidam dukkha nirodhagamini patipada ariya satchang bhavitanti me bhikkhave pobe ananusutesu dhammesu chakkhung udapadi jnanam udapadi panya udapadi vicca udapadi aloko udapadi yavaki vancha me bhikkhave imesu chatusu ariya satchesu evanti parivattam dvadasakaram yatha bhutam jnana dasanam nasuvisudham nahosi Nevatavaham bhikkhave sadevake loke samarake sabrahmake sasamana brahmaniya pachaya sadeva manusaya anuttarang samma sambodhi abhisambodho pachanyasim yato chakome bhikkhave imesu chatusu ariya satchesu evanti parivattam dvadasakaram yatha bhutam jnana dasanam suvisudham ahosi Athaham bhikkhave sadevake loke samarake sabrahmake sasamana brahmaniya pachaya
Sadewa manusaya anuttarang samma sambodhing abhisambuddho paccanyasim Jnananca panamerasanang udapadi akuppa me vimutti ayamanti majati nati dani punabhavoti Iramavocha bhagava attamana panchavakya bhikkhu bhagavato pasitang abhinandunti Imasmin japanaveya karanasmin bhanyamane ayasmato kondanyasa virajang vitamalang dhammacakkappavattana yang kinci samudaya dhammang sabbang tang nirodha dhammanti Avatite japana bhagavata Dhammacakkappavattana Sattamanusa vesung Etang bhagavata varanasiyang isipatane nikadaye Anuttarang Dhammacakkappavattana appativattiyang Samanena wa brahmanena wa devena wa marena wa brahmona wa kena jiva lokasminti Bhumanang devanang saddang sutuva chatu maharajika deva saddamanusa vesung tang bhagavata varanasiyang isipatane mikadaye anuttarang dhammacakkappavattana appativattiyang samanena wa brahmanena wa devena wa marena wa brahmona wa kena jiva lokasminti Chatum maharajikanang devanang saddang sutava tavating sa deva saddamanusa vesung Etang bhagavata varanasiyang isipatane mikadaye anuttarang dhammacakkappavattana appativattiyang samanena wa brahmanena wa devena wa marena wa brahmona wa kena jiva lokasminti Tavating sanam devanang saddang sutuva yama deva saddamanusa vesung etang bhagavata varanasiyang isipatane mikadaye anuttarang dhammacakkappavattana appativattiyang samanena wa brahmanena wa devena wa marena wa brahmona wa kena jiva lokasminti Yamanang devanang saddang sutuva tusita deva saddamanusa vesung etang bhagavata varanasiyang isipatane mikadaye anuttarang dhammacakkappavattana appativattiyang samanena wa brahmanena wa devena wa marena wa brahmona wa kena jiva lokasminti Tusitanang devanang saddang sutuva nimanarati deva sattamanusa vesung etang bhagavata varanasiyang isipatane mikadaye Anuttarang Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta Apativattiyang Samanena Va Brahmanena Va Devena Va Marena Va Brahmona Va Kenachiva Lokasminti Nimanaratinang Devanang Sattam Sutuva Brahmacakkappavattana Deva Sattamanusavesu Etang Bhagavata Varanasiyang Isipatane Mikadaye Anuttarang Dhammacakkappavattana Apativattiyang Samanena Va Brahmanena Va Devena Va Marena Va Brahmona Va Kenachiva Lokasminti Paranimita Vasavattinang Devanang Sattam Sutuva Brahmakayika Deva Sattamanusavesu Etang Bhagavata Varanasiyang Isipatane Mikadaye Anuttarang Dhammacakkappavattana Apativattiyang Samanena Va Brahmanena Va Devena Va Marena Va Brahmona Va Kenachiva Lokasminti Iti hatena kanena tena muhutena yava brahma loka sando abhukachi ayancha dasa sahasi loka dhatu sankampi sampavedi Apamano chaularo opasolo ke patura hosi adikama devanang devanubhavanti atako bhagava imang udanang udanesi Anyasi watabo kondanyo, anyasi watabo kondanyo ti. Iti hidang ayasmato kondanyasa, anyasi kondanyo devanamang ahosi. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
So the next thing in the program is the Dhamma Talk, but I see some people who are about to sneak out, and I think we forgot you earlier. Do you want to say a word, Malai, about, we went to do this at the time of the Sanghadana, mentioning your mom's dedication for the Sima? Would you like to come up very quickly? I know you need to go, but we don't want to miss this. We think it's very important. Come on up. So we've had the pledge to support all the bhikkhunis for the Vassa, and we also have a pledge to support a particular event that's going to be happening during the Vassa, which is the Bhikkhuni Upasamaya in September. For our two candidates here, we're going to do that in this space, but in order to do it in this space, we need to do something special to this space, which is to put it inside the special monastic boundary called a Sima. And Malai and her mom are going to help us to do this. If they'd like to come up and just very briefly say a word. I know you need to go.
Hello, everybody. I'm happy to be here, and you know, it's very interesting that the journey just continue, and it seemed to fit so well. And we just have the statue, and now with the statue, with the Sima, and then with the Upasamaya, you know, I couldn't think of a better way of supporting this, sponsoring this. So I was just pondering how lucky I've been, you know, to have received this opportunity. I'm like, I've looked at throughout. I was like, everything's connecting dots. And now I just feel like it's complete. The Sima, the Upasamaya, we're done.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Yes. So, all right. Thank you very much, Malai. It's good to hear from you. Good to see you. And
Very supportive on this. And this is
yeah, no, I know this is Mom's gift this time. Malai has given so much here. Like these, she was the major mover on these statues coming to be here, and and it's all coming together to allow the Upasampada, especially of one of the third. We think she will be the third Cambodian bhikkhuni in the world. We're also very happy about this potential bhikkhuni here, even though she's not Cambodian. And so just to mention that wonderful thing will be happening, sponsored by Malai's mom in this case. So thank you very much. And so next thing will be the Dhamma Talk. And let's see, we've asked if Karina would be happy to recite this in Pali, but we also thought, did Shari and Shirley, did you want to request this in English? And then Karina was going to do the Pali for you. Okay, how about Shari and Shirley can just read it in English first, and then Karina will come up and give the Pali.
Can we give them the mic?
Can they have the mic?
The Brahma God, Dhammacakkappavattana, Lord of the world, with palms joined in reverence, requested a favor. Beings are here, but little dust in their eyes. Pray, teach the Dhamma out of compassion for them.
Dhammacakkappavattana sahampati Katanjalihanam divarang hayachata santi vidasata parajaka jatika dese tu dhammam anukam piman pajam. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Shifting gears a little bit, let's sit quietly for a few minutes of meditation, just a few minutes. tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Buddham dhammang sanghang namasami. Dear friends, now we have come together, bringing the Fourfold Sangha together with these with bhikkhunis and men and women coming into this space. And we have remembered the world-changing event when the Buddha first taught the Sutta, taught the Dhamma to his 5 disciples, and when one of them had the opening of the Dhamma eye. There's another teaching which I'm not fully qualified to go into, but you can find it online. We may republish it soon. Ayatollah and some others have found an ancient text about a lay woman who heard about this teaching and came to that place and also had an awakening at that time. So the creation of this powerful, mighty river of Dhamma, which flows along through the generations and which affects entire cultures, turning the world towards a place of righteousness and harmony and kindness, is something that all was launched or had a turning point at that particular moment. When we come up to the Vassa, we usually choose one theme, one aspect of meditation or an aspect of practice that the Sangha will look at together. At different times in the past, we've looked at, I'm not sure I can remember all the subjects between the winter retreat and the Vassa retreat, but we've looked at the Anapanasati and dependent origination and the Nibbana sermons and other topics like that, especially related to teachings that are offered to us by our great contemporary teachers. This year, I had a bit of a different inspiration, which when I mentioned it to others, there was such a spontaneous pickup and an immediate acceptance of the importance and the potential transforming effect of this practice on us. And my idea was, well, I noticed that the conflict in Europe had the potential to evolve into World War III. And just had this thought, suppose I could dedicate my religious practice or my spiritual practice towards the cessation of hostilities. Really having that intention, doing the practice of compassion and metta in a formal meditation practice, and holding that thought in my heart about the cessation of hostilities in the world to save us from this great danger, not to escalate, but to de-escalate, to let those conflicts and the other conflicts around the world be pacified and tranquilized. Sometimes something bad happens, and public people, when they're making a speech about it, or they quickly send a message saying that they are giving their thoughts and prayers for the benefit of those victims or those who are suffering. And then other voices come up, which are very cynical and saying, "Oh, that's horrible. How could you think of doing something so stupid as to offer thoughts and prayers? Why don't you do something real, something that's really truly beneficial? But actually, I feel that thoughts and prayers are real, that they are significant, and that all of the good and effective actions that are done by humans begins with a thought. And so, therefore, this is why we think that the practice of the Brahma Viharas, the divine abidings, are so transformative and so significant in our as part of our practice. One aspect of the practice that I'm undertaking for myself, this is my adhitthana, and which I'm inviting others to join in, is a simple upholding, almost as a formality, a decision to speak the words about cessation of hostility and about peace, bringing peace into the world, let there be peace. And repeating that verbally out loud, bringing it to mind, and making that part of a reflection, which is not just done once in a while, not just today and forget about it for the rest of the year, or not just once in a while on a random basis, but more in a methodical way, to just have the thought projecting out, pervading the world with our clear intention and wish for the cessation of hostility. And doing that as a consistent practice, knowing that even if initially we might feel that our thoughts and prayers might not be that powerful, but they can become powerful. And one way that thoughts and prayers can become powerful is through that consistency of practicing and holding it over a period of time. Even just recently with the groups that I lead on the Sunday and Tuesday program, I give Zoom programs every week. And in between the Vesak and now, we decided to take a 6-week course of the Brahma Viharas of metta meditation, just 3 times a week, talking about metta, talking about kindness, talking about different aspects of that. And several people who were in the group experienced the transformation, experienced the significant shift in their practice by remembering about loving kindness. And even though we know that this whole path of practice is permeated with loving kindness, nevertheless, sometimes a person might be engaged in some different part of the practice. They're contemplating about impermanence, they're contemplating about non-self, they're contemplating about dependent origination, they're developing the breath meditation and the body meditation, the meditating on the 6 sense spaces, meditating on dukkha, meditating on the 4 noble truths, but then not remembering what a central and significant part that this loving kindness has. The beginning of our path is samadhi, right view. And that right view comes about by looking with complete honesty and complete sincerity at our circumstance, acknowledging the extent to which dukkha, old age, sickness and death, conflict, suffering, greed, depression, all of the emotional problems of the world, all of the aggravation and irritation of the world, to what a massive extent unkindness and cruelty has been one of the other rivers that has been running through our life and running through the life of beings since time immemorial. That this thread of dukkha has been running along all this time, and it's not useful to pretend that dukkha was like some kind of a mistake, something that it's not supposed to be there, but because somebody goofed, and so therefore we're getting this dukkha. But instead, knowing that it's very deep, very pervasive, very typical, that everybody wants to be safe, everybody wants to be happy, everybody wants to have enough for life, and somehow in this process of getting and protecting what we think we need for our own safety, for our own sense of a position or something, people fall into these conflicts. They fall into struggle, they fall into strife, and realizing the power and the depth and breadth of dukkha is what led Gautama Buddha to go on his quest, to look deeply into causation, and to finally make this realization about how dukkha is fundamentally arising from craving, which is a universal, something that every being has got. So far, what the Buddha knew is something that a lot of people know about. But what the Buddha discovered, which a lot of people don't know about, is that there is an end of dukkha. There is a cessation. There is the possibility that craving and anger could cease in a way that's irrevocable. When we talk about the cessation of hostility in the world, it's very closely connected to the cessation of hostility inside of us. How can I ask the devas to bring peace to the world? Oh, and by the way, how about those devas? Something that somebody said that made a great impression on me, because I've repeated it a few times, is this idea that modern secular modern people tend to be skeptical about the existence of devas, the existence of celestial beings and who are present, who are around us. But it may be that it's because they don't welcome them, they don't invite them, they don't show kindness to the devas, they don't have a nice wish for the devas. And so because of our cold-heartedness, then the devas go away. They don't like to hang around where they're not wanted, they're not welcomed. But then those people who got that tender heart, that welcoming heart, that open heart, which is welcoming the devas, that could be a place where, it's like having a butterfly garden. And then you can have thousands of butterflies come and visit your garden if you put the right things out for them. So the same way, if we put the right things out for the devas, for the celestial beings, they can be around us and they can hear us. My request to the devas, I've heard that it's common in Buddhism that somebody can ask the devas for a favor. So
we don't usually like quote unquote pray in the sense of some of the other religions in terms of asking God to do things for us, but it does happen. It's very kind of typical to ask the gods to be nice to us, to take care of us, and to protect us. Even in the Ratana Sutta, after the city had been struck with a plague and so many people had died, and then the rotten, festering corpses had piled up outside the city walls and were causing an even greater growth or increase of the plague of illness. That then the Buddha came and he called out. He had his disciples to circumambulate the city 3 times, reciting the Ratana Sutta, and in that sutta, they were calling on the devas to be good to help the humans. Oh, celestial beings and earthbound beings, please help these humans. And then just after that, a great rain came along, and the rain washed away all the festering corpses and washed away the disease and pestilence that had affected that city. And so, in the same way, it seems to me that in many corners of this world, we have maybe the hard places, maybe the places that are so engrossed with hatred and cruelty that maybe the people over there or some other people over there are not inviting the devas, but I invite the devas to go over there to the hard places and bring a good rain to heal, to wash away the pestilence, to wash away the confusion, to wash away the wrong views that are keeping people locked into these positions that have got so much harmful and dangerous consequences for human happiness and for the happiness of beings on this earth. In terms of the practice of peace, one way that a person's spiritual practice, or the words they could say, can become powerful is through sincerity. Another way is through having had experience, direct experience with the challenges and with the suffering. So a person who has experienced a great loss, who has experienced great suffering, who has experienced injustice or experienced cruelty, if a person has been through that kind of experience and they've been able to integrate and come through and out of that experience in a way that they are no longer harboring a grudge, but simply having the wish for kindness and for happiness. That person who's already been to hell and back has got a spiritual status. They've got spiritual power. They're able to speak in a way which is authentic, more so than it could be some hypothetical person who always had a happy life and never had any problems at all and never suffered and doesn't really know what injustice is because they never experienced it. They don't know what depression is because they never experienced it. They don't know what sadness is because they never experienced it. If there even is such a person, that person might be what you find as being, kind of like shallow. But the person who has been able to, as I say, to go to hell and back and to come out of it and to come out with that purification where they know the danger in anger and hatred And because of fully understanding the danger, then they're so motivated to not allow that kind of bad motive to have any place at all in their hearts. And so that's somebody who's kind of like an authority. So what we've been through before that got us to this point on the path is part of the empowerment of our practice of peace. In looking at the suttas, as we did recently when we went through this course, I was looking into the divine abidings and what the teachings are. And one thing that was kind of surprising to me was to notice that the Buddha gave sutta after sutta after sutta about getting rid of anger. He's got a cookbook with 101 recipes for getting rid of anger. And why is that? Well, it must be because anger is that big of a problem, is that prevalent, is that important of a barrier, and something that all of us need to take care of. Even somebody who is good, maybe even especially people who are kind of like good at the superficial level, and they are mature enough that they're able to suppress their anger and not manifest their anger in stupid speeches and stupid actions. But nevertheless, it may be something that still exists within them, that because it's not manifesting in a gross way, they might feel that they don't have to take care of it. But these teachings that the Buddha gave again and again in so many different suttas says, well, we got to take care of this. And so this would be the meaning of stopping the war inside. And if I want the devas not just to hang around in the pretty gardens where they're all welcomed and loved, but I want the devas to also go to the terrible places, the places that are really caught in suffering. And so the same way for us, if we would be able to really learn how to become the master of anger or the mistress of anger, so that we can know how to dispel, prevent, and reduce, and eventually pull out the root of anger, like pulling out a rotten tooth, to just have it's pulled out completely and it's not coming back. If we were able to do that, then we can go anywhere. We can be in any circumstance among any kind of people. We can speak in any kind of situation, and our irritability or aversion or something is not going to get stimulated because it's been put out. So this is a tremendously significant and important part of our practice. I feel that in terms of my adhitthana, my determination for this vassa, it's I can just look around and I can say, wow, look at the danger. Look what anger is leading to. Let me get as far away from that as I can. Just let me know that there's not any safe level of anger. Just like I guess the government says we got radon in our houses, and the government says there's no safe level of radon. Any level of radon has got some kind of like a danger to health. So any level of anger is dangerous. In the
Dhatuvibhanga Sutta, the Buddha speaks about 4 resolutions. And part of that sutta involves becoming a sage at peace through the cultivation of mindfulness, through contemplation on the 6 sense base and the 4 elements, realizing the selfless nature of anything at all that can be experienced in terms of the elements or the 6 senses. A person can come to a very a profound and tranquil kind of meditation. Even they can come to what's called the immaterial attainments, which is a field of meditation where a person has been stepped away from the impingements of the 6 senses and the Vedana that's arising from the contact of the senses. And so that immaterial level is a certain kind of like a heaven, in the sense that all the contact and all the feeling, it's all kind of like part of dukkha. All of that contact is involved with stimulus and response. So we get stimulated by pleasant things to want to get them. We're stimulated by unpleasant things to want to get away from them. We're stimulated by touches to just react and tighten up to them. And it is all of these touches of the contact with the senses that in a way keeps the human being sort of just going around and around with the process of life as we do. But in the immaterial meditations, it's said that they've got into a space or a zone where the mind is not attending, not picking up on those kind of sense contacts. And it's a very peaceful, still, calm, blissful because it's peaceful state of existence in meditation, where a person could die in that meditation and could be reborn in a immaterial realm of existence and stay for 5,000 eons in a zone of infinite space or the zone of one of the immaterial zones. But however, without yet acquiring the wisdom that is the permanent escape. But a meditator who has really developed a deep meditation on the elements, on the sense contacts, culminating in like the space element, very calm meditation, can see that experience accurately as what it is. This is impermanent. This is conditionally arisen. This meditation is not the final answer. This state, no matter how blissful it is, still has the character of dukkha because it's impermanent. And with that, the mind turns towards the deathless, turns towards nibbana, and one becomes, I guess we could say psychologically or mentally disengaged from those kind of impingements of that which is pleasant, that which is unpleasant, that we like, that we don't like, all of these kind of contacts that are available to a human being. After this realization, we can experience those things in a way which is disconnected, and because of not being tied and reacting to those states, then we are not disturbed. Not being disturbed, no unskillful formations, no unskillful thoughts or unskillful ideas will come up in us. And then not being disturbed, we would not be grasping after any state of existence. We would not be looking for any basis. We're not looking for something to stand on in order to resist whatever is happening to us. That person is called a sage of peace. And so in a certain way, when we speak about saying stop the war and stop the war within, we are actually pointing to the very highest consummation of our spiritual path. The ultimate goal that we aspire towards is a space of peace, a space which is truly safe from all of the disturbances where the war is not able to touch. And I don't know if it's true, this is coming from a non-Buddhist source, but there's an idea that in the social world, people are responding to one another. And well, there's a game called Tit for Tat. Has anybody heard of it? Yeah, okay, so if somebody needs a favor, the first round you would do the right thing and be nice, and find out whether the other person reciprocates and will be nice to you in exchange. But if the other person is not nice, if they cheat on you, then the second time around, you give them what they gave you. And so then you give bad for bad, you give good for good and bad for bad. So in a society like that has a tendency to deteriorate and to go into a downward spiral, a bad synergy of falling into a state where people are very commonly evil to one another, and then people are expecting evil. People become like defensive because of that, and only the rare person, like a saintly person, would be immune from that and would be having the mind or the heart to always be good no matter what, and not worry about what's given in return. But it's also possible for there to be a society, a good society, a beautiful society, in which most of the people are good most of the time. And most of the time, if you do something nice, other people would appreciate and reciprocate the nice thing that you did to them. And so that kind of society, it's very pleasant to live in. It's an ideal society. We sort of kind of think that the monastic society is such a utopia in a certain way that we try. We are consciously kind and careful and considerate towards one another. If there's a mistake, if something happens that's unskillful or somebody gets upset or hurt, we've got ways to try to resolve that very quickly, to resolve it and take care of it and to not allow those things to fester. And so then there is this expectation. But out here in the wide world, if a percentage of the humans would be good all the time, I don't know if this is true. I heard 1%. So if 1% of the people in Sonoma County could be good all the time, that would be enough to protect Sonoma County from falling into a downward spiral of hatred, negativity, and mutual animosity of unethical cruelty between people. So this is one way that all of us can stop the war, is by being conscious and not being so shy, not hiding our beliefs under a barrel, but instead openly and freely manifesting and showing what we believe, what our values are. If we believe in kindness and goodness, then manifesting that and displaying that. It's possible that the troubles in our samsaric world, the troubles in the world here that we live in, they might get better. People could realize, oh, we were on a wrong track. Let's turn around and get back on a right track. They could start to realize that they need to listen to one another and talk to one another and be a bit more honest and open. It's possible. And it's also possible that the troubles that we experience out in the world or that we see out in the world could go downhill, could get worse. It's happened before. Well, it's not the last time. But at any time, there's no time that's the wrong time to be doing this kind of practicing for peace, practicing for kindness, and trying to develop that sort of a discernment that will be looking for what's the more deeply ethical way to hold each kind of circumstance and condition that we encounter and that we see, not being blinded by getting caught in being polarized and saying, oh, whatever somebody's on the other side of the polarity, whatever they think is wrong or whatever someone thinks on our side is right, but instead just looking honestly and openly at people with an open mind and open heart. So stopping the war is internal practice to some extent. And it's also public practice. We're not aiming to become a political organization, but if anybody ever asks, I favor not killing, not stealing, and not lying. And if there's a choice, it would be good to vote for the person who is not stealing, and not killing, and not lying. And whatever other strength or shortcomings they have, whatever talents or skills they have, they could be a great speaker, a great performer, a great musician, a great thinker, a great person in this way or that way. And those are all also important. But if we just kind of like prioritize those fundamental basic values, that's something that can be done in terms of the external world. But our practice internally is to not close our eyes, not have blinders, know that there is this dukkha in the world, know that mistakes are happening, and know that beings are losing their life. Life is being destroyed, ecosystems being destroyed, entire cultures being destroyed because of the mistakes. And so we know that, and we don't try to hide with it. We're not trying to traumatize ourselves, but we're trying to let the light of our compassionate wish for the cessation of hostilities to mentally be made to pervade all of those dark spaces. So what I have to say is really very simple. I'd like to actually invite others, if others among the monastics would have anything that they could add in terms of how one can practice to stop the war. And then among those who are out here still in the room or in the Zoom room, if you've got any comment to say about what's meaningful to do to practice to stop the war.
Mayang Dhamman Desanam Sadhu Karam Banamase Sadhu Sadhu Sadhu.
That was an invitation for some discussion. Does anyone in the audience like to? We can have that mic there if they would like to ask a question or make a comment. Thank you, Aya, for that wonderful talk. It just so maybe it's just not close enough to my mouth. Okay, I got you. I'll make it face this way. Is that too loud? Okay, just thank you for your talk. It's just so related to what I've been thinking about. Yeah, I have a lot to say, but useful. We're coming here. You know, I came last time. I remember Ayatata Loka was asking for an adhitthana, and I was like, oh no. But then we were doing the Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta, and it got sealed with what you said, and it's just that there's that question that you put out. You know, what can we do to stop the war? I know for myself, you know, when I function pretty well when everyone's nice around me. You know, I don't have any trouble, but but it's a little challenging with my family, and I can tell it's good for me to go back home and spend some time with my mom, but it's going to be challenging. And then there's that part in the sutta that's like Ramane na wa dame na wa. So it's like wa wa wa. It's like this can't stop the Dhammacakka from turning. That can't stop the wheel. That nothing can stop the wheel. And so the way those two things connect for me is what gets me into trouble, where I get caught up in the war, so to speak, is I want the other person to understand me. And I realize that makes more problems. And you know, of course, we've heard that before, but just applying it directly to my life, it's significant. So I think I even want to make an adhitthana, because it's this adhitthana of being steady. And when I'm here, I just feel very steady. Nanea was saying, oh, you know, you just look so grounded. I'm like, oh, it's so easy here. It can be very grounded, but the anger does come up when I'm, you know, it seems like I'm hit with things or accused of things, or and so I want to have an argument and explain myself and things like that. And I realize that what I want to focus on instead, well, I think a better direction is just this definitely the steadiness, and it's not going to involve getting the other person to understand me
and what you said at the beginning of the talk of what's the most important thing, like not even an ounce of anger is okay, or an ounce of radon or is okay. So that's more important than getting them to finally understand what the issue is. So those are my comments.
Sorry, I have a bloody nose. So it feels very auspicious for me to be here. And one of the reasons I came was because it's the beginning of the Rains Retreat and a time, and I've been thinking this past week of an adhitthana and what would that be? And what that means for me is I cast this kind of a spell on the next 3 months and sort of uplift it in the sense of making merit, of deepening, Dhamma qualities, brightening Dhamma qualities. And what would that be? And something I just recently heard a talk by Joseph Goldstein. And he said at some point he was inspired by Upandita to go in the direction of what is difficult. And Joseph said in his practice, he's always like, well, what's the easiest thing to do? And I was like, well, what a concept that is, to do something that's difficult. And for me, and how could I do that? And how could I find support to do that? And I don't have that answer for what my adhitthana will be yet. And I'm just pausing and waiting, and maybe by the end of the day I will have something written on the Bodhi leaf. And anyway, that's all. I just want to share my little my Dhamma process and how grateful I am to be here and to be able to have my Dhamma process. So thank you.
Hello. For many years, I always understood the nature of anger, that anger is a mind state that is very difficult. It obstructs progress, spiritual progress, and I've understood that for years. And for years, every time anger arose, the second arrow of judging the anger, being angry at myself for being for having anger, and then try as hard as I did to try to eliminate the anger, to get into a peaceful place when the anger arose. It was at best leapfrogging it, and it never really resolved the anger. And at a certain point, more recently, I have come to see that in the present moment, if anger is arising in me, to go towards it instead of away from it. And I don't mean towards the story of what's making me angry and justifying my anger It's to acknowledge that anger is arising and to breathe it in and feel it in my body. And I always see how constricted my heart is when I'm in that mind state. And then if I move, because this is the present moment, anger is arising, present moment, I feel it in my constricted heart. And by going to that constricted heart somatically, to actually breathe into it, a great compassion arises, because I see how the anger does close my heart, how the anger is physically and physiologically an obstruction to peace and to progress. And instead, when I go towards it and I feel it, a great compassion arises within me, because I see the suffering, self-created suffering that my anger creates in me. And then a great compassion arises, and the anger dissolves, and it tends not to come back. So yeah, and right now, is there's so much in the world that is distressing. The war in Ukraine being one top of my list at the moment, because of the great suffering there. But I can hold it without anger. I can hold it in compassion, because I think that I've had such a long practice now of holding my anger that it just does not really arise. But it doesn't mean that judgment or that I could discriminate a terrible situation and respond to it with compassion and do what I can, in terms of helping out politically and helping, we in Jenner, there's a family, a Russian family, a Ukrainian family that's finally got their relatives out of danger. And, our community came together to contribute towards that cause. But we could do that. I could do that, in a spirit of compassion instead of a spirit of anger and reactivity. So I do see that moving towards whatever mind state you're at and holding it compassionately, it dissolves it, rather than the judgment just keeps it going. It just buries it and comes back again even stronger.
We're coming to the end of this time for our program. So thank you to everyone who has participated now. I want to let you know there will be more opportunities throughout the Vassa for discussion on this topic of stopping the war. So we'll be talking about this all the time on our ongoing Sunday and Tuesday programs online, as well as the fortnightly Uposita programs. We've been doing that the last Vassa and last winter retreat. We gave these day-long programs on the Uposita days, and we will be continuing that during this Vassa this year. So everyone, welcome to join us for those. You can find more details on our website. I appreciate Susan especially bringing up the Adhitthana. I want to invite everyone here to really consider would you like to make an Adhitthana with our monastic community for these 3 months of deepening practice. And if you would, those on Zoom are welcome to write in the chat what their Adhitthana is. We'll save that and we'll put it up on our physical dedication tree over here. Those here in person, please, if you think of it, welcome to write down. What would you like to be developing? The qualities of brightness of heart that Susan was mentioning during these 3 months to join with us in stopping the war. So please do write on a Bodhi leaf before you go. I see only one leaf over there so far. We need to treat a little bare. Yes, I would like to do that. I'm also being asked online, what is an Adhitthana? Good question. So it's a determination to do something. And in this context, it would be It's also one of the paramis, the perfections. It's in that context often translated as resolve. It's like you're deciding, I'm going to do this. And the purpose of today as a Vassa entry day is kind of for all of us to come together and witness it for each other, that the Bhikkhuni Sangha is determining or resolving that we're going to undertake the Vassa, which is the traditional period of practice for the Rains Retreat. And we're also hearing of our determination for this year's Vassa theme, which is of stopping the war, that we will be practicing with that together. And so that's what we're deciding on for this Vassa. And it's just an opportunity to think about what is it that you wish to be practicing and resolving and determining to do. So it's an invitation, not a requirement, but we invite you to do that. Now, before we come, right. Yes, you do have a few more days to figure it out because Vassa entry is not actually until the 14th. Today is the Vassa invitation, so I'm making my invitation now. And yes, the actual full moon day is our actual Vassa entry day. So I'd like to thank those who have contributed to bringing us together today and supporting us. So this is our Anumodana for many people. It's also in your leaflet, but we want to remember the whole Dhammadharini Support Foundation, led especially with Susie. Susie has gone, but Susie Clicks, our board of directors president, was here today. And her, along with Dominic McCarty, Sapatra Chowchevich, and Bob Flax are our current board, and we appreciate all that they do to support so many things about our life here. We want to thank especially Shari Gent, Dhammadharini Support Foundation President Emeritus and founding board member, and Upasamaya Shirley Kwok, our board member emeritus, ambassador for Bhikkhunis and financials committee member. They have today offered the invitation to enter the Vassa. They've offered the rains bathing cloth. They've offered the pledge to offer they've given the pledge to offer Kathina, and they led the community in offering this Sanghadana that we see here today. So they are our leaders in generosity for today, and we're very happy for them to have this opportunity and to have this time, these 3 months of this special connection between us. So Anumodana to you. We're appreciating Nomsab Khan with her daughter Malai Uch, who have pledged the offer of the Sima for the Bhikkhuni ordinations in September. The lovely flowers here offered, at least in part, by Shari Gent. I don't know if maybe some others have also contributed. They are very beautiful here. Our main lunch dana donor today was Daham and Asha and their family. And I think a number of others also brought some food to share. So Anumodana to all for this wonderful lunch. It was coordinated in part by our Dana coordinator, Mr. Lal Senanayake. Appreciation to Karina for requesting the Dhamma Talk. Our tech support, Matthew Fiorello. The porta potty, courtesy of Shari Gent. The yard is looking very beautiful. A lot of work has gone into making this look so nice, including those on the landscaping committee. So that's Asalha, Ananea Potter, Judith Levin, and Chuy Contreras, and all the members of our monastic community who have worked hard today and in the past few days to put all this together. So for all their love and care to the preparations. And we're also sitting in this beautiful Dhanasala space. It's still new to us. I think, some of you who are our old friends here may be seeing this space for this first time today. So we just want to continue our appreciation for those who pledged this space that has become a reality and is such a wonderful addition to our monastery yard. And of course, Asalha's offering of the Dhamma Talk today. So inaugurating the Dhamma teaching and practice theme of the 2022 Vassa of stopping the war.
Oh. We should not fail to remember Venerable Kathina, who was instrumental in organizing the sound technology for today's event and having a heroic role in organizing the physical setup. And also seminary Tavira had a very important role in remembering the to-do list of all the things that we had to do in the weeks leading up to the event, and on the day before, and the day of, and the morning of, and also the morning after, and the afternoon after. So Tavira has kept us organized in that way, and has also got the talent for creating these beautiful representations and the beautiful imagery that's gone up on our website about the day. So thank you for that. Then I could remember our resident soon-to-be Anagarika Kalina, who was your greeter this morning, and who has been wonderful. Actually, Kalina was not mentioned on the gardening committee, but she just has got a talent to look around and very quietly, without making a fuss, just making things nicer and more beautiful. And so Kalina has done so much in that area and many other aspects of our community life together. So I hope that although she's a new resident through this coming 3 months, that all of you will try to be a good friend for her. Ayatotaloka is not here, but has been giving so much in support of the Bhikkhuni Sangha worldwide. Many long sleepless nights working with people in distant lands to assist with different aspects of the Bhikkhuni life, especially establishing the Sangha of Cambodia, which is taking the first baby steps, and we hope that's going to mature into a healthy and self-sustaining community. Ayatotaloka also gave us several hours of her time enriching our comprehension about the traditions of Dhammadharini Asalha Puja, and using her knowledge and cultural knowledge to help us to just manifest in a way which is not just something we pulled out of a hat, but something that is representing the Buddhist traditions.
Taloka is with us online, although not visible here at the moment. As she says, I will promise to make up my missed Dhamma talk on the great meaning if conditions allow. Otherwise, just joyfully unto Nibbana smile. So, Anumodana, and we look forward to that Dhamma talk when conditions allow.
You are. Well, you're leading it. We're all going to chant together.
This is on page 16 of your booklet. Sobhana, do you have your mic? Sobhana will lead us in the Patidana chanting. Can you introduce what is Patidana, Aye?
14 or 14. Yeah.
Right, 16 first.
And then Seminary Sadajiva will chant the part on page 14. Akasata Chabhummata Devanaga Mahindika Punyang tang anumoditva chirang rakhantu sasanang akasatta cha bhummata devanaga mahindika. Punyang tang anumoditva chirang rakhantu desanang akasatta cha bhummata devanaga mahindika. Punyang tang anumoditva chirang rakhantu mang paranti.
Handamayang patina kathagyo panamase ya devata santi viharavasini tope ghare bodhi ghare tahin tahin tamadane napavan tapujita soting karonte dhaviharamandale Theri chamacha navaka chapikavo saramika tanapati upasika kama jate sanikama cha isara sapana bhuta sukhita bhavantu te Jala puja ye pecha anda sambhava sangseta jata atavo papadika niya nikang dhammavarang pate sute sape petukha sakarontu sangkayang Dhatu jarang satang dhammo dhammatara japukala sangho hautu samako va ataya ca hitaya ca amhe rakatu sattammo sabbe pedhammacarino Wadang sapa punaya matamme dan sawe jite. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
So this has been chanting for Patidana, which means giving back, dedication of merits or sharing of merits. So all the goodness that we've done today, we share with all the others listed here. Do you want to end with the Yata Wariwaha?
Yata Varvaha Pura Paripurandi Sagaram Evam evam ito dinam bhetanam apakappati Ikshitang bhatitang chumham kipameva saminchatu Sabbe purentu sankappa Kando pannavaso yata Mani jyoti vaso yata
Sabitiyo vivachantu Sabarogo vinasatu mate bhavattvantarayo sukhi dikayuko bhavahapi varanasili sanichang vudha pachayino chataro dhamma vadanti ayuvanno sukhang balang
Bhavatu sabba mangalam
rakantu sabba devata sabba buddha
Anubhavena Sada Soti Bhavantu Te Bhavatu Sabba Mangalang Rakantu Sabba Devata Sabba Dhammanubhavena Sada Soti Bhavantu Te Bhavatu Sabba Mangalang Rakantu Sabba Devata Sabba Sanghanubhavena Sada Soti Bhavantu Te.
By the power of the triple gem, may all of you be well in every way.
Sadhu, sadhu. Oh, this is the end of our program. Glad to have seen you all today. Welcome to stay and have a cup of tea over there, have a little conversation with whoever's hanging around, which might be some monastics or might not, we'll see. And if anyone is really feeling heroically energetic, they could stay and help us take down some canopies afterwards. Or welcome to just be on your way. I know people have places to be, but thank you all for this wonderful day, and we'll see you around.